Hey, good evening, everyone. I am not going to be before you very long, but I definitely wanted to share some scriptures with you all from the book of Esther this morning. that the book of Esther kept coming to me. And so I took some time to actually read the book of Esther. It has been a while because we all know, the story. Hadn't heard it preached in a long time, but how she replaced Queen Vashti or Vashti, however you pronounce it, because she was defiant to King Ahasuerus. So he was upset, and his advisors actually told him, pick you someone of the young virgins. And I'm just summarizing here. But my whole point of coming to you is to encourage you all to go back and read through the book of Esther. It only actually has, I want to say 9, so 10 chapters. Really 9, because the 10th chapter only has like 3 verses. But just going back and reading through and studying it to see what was happening is dangerous to have ungodly advisors to people who are in authority. And this is what was taking place here with King Ahasuerus. So the people that were closest to him, let me just see here. When the king was upset about what Vashti had done, the king appointed officers in all the provinces of his kingdom. He was advised to appoint officers in all the provinces of his kingdom to gather all the fair young virgins unto the palace. So these were his servants that ministered to him, that gave him that advice, and it pleased him to do that. Again, I want you all to read and study what was going on in the book of Esther. I'm like, wow, it is very dangerous when we have people in authority. First of all, when they're ungodly, but then when they have ungodly advisors or ungodly servants or ungodly people that ministers to them. And this is what was happening. So read through that. And then when I got to chapter 3, I'm like, wow. So Hitler was able to do what Haman was trying to do back in the book of Esther. So Haman was actually trying to do the exact same thing way back in the book of Esther that was done by Hitler. So many things, sometimes we're just reading through and not really focusing, but it's just amazing how the Spirit of God will give you that revelation to see what is going on and what is the danger behind what is going on now. God's word does not change. It will not change no matter what the world changes. They're calling right wrong and wrong right. They're calling evil good and good evil. So see, the world keeps changing to accommodate sin. The world keeps changing to accommodate their father, the devil, to set up for such a time as this. And the children of God, the children of light, need to be able to discern the times and to, like that song say, wake up and pay attention of what's going on. Things that's going on right underneath our noses, and just something I've experienced going on right in my household. So I've made up my mind that I am going to follow Christ. I don't care what other people do. If people choose to go to hell, if people choose to love the world and enjoy the pleasure of sin rather than living for God, they're on their own. I have decided to follow Jesus, and there is no turning back. The world behind me, the cross before me. So we just have to make some decisions, because this is where we are at this time. And the Bible speaks of people, their love is going to wax cold. They're going to be lovers of themselves, heady, high-minded. This is happening even within, like I said, I can see this within my own family structure. I can see it. You know, anyway, I am going to read from chapter 3, the book of Esther, and I'm going to just pick a few verses and just kind of talk about it a little bit, or just read it. But if you want to understand what I'm saying, just ask God to lead you by His Spirit as you read to get an understanding. But take note of what is going on. Verse 8, chapter 3. And Haman said unto King Ahasuerus. So just before I read this, verse 8, Haman was mad because Mordecai would not bow down to him. Mordecai was Esther's uncle, and he would not bow down to Haman. See, people want you to praise them, to worship them. And Haman had a problem because Mordecai would not bow down. So the 8th verse says, And Haman said unto King Ahasuerus, There is a certain people scattered abroad and dispersed among the people in all the provinces of your kingdom. And their laws are diverse from all people. Neither keep they the king's laws. Therefore it is not for the king's profit to suffer them. So in other words, the Jews, they did not follow the laws of the king. They were set apart. And this is how God's children should be even now. We should not be marching to the beat of the world. And it says they neither keep the king's laws. It says their laws are diverse from all people. As children of God, we are set apart. We are sanctified, and our laws are different from the world. It should be different. And so he was telling the king that he should not allow them there because they are not for his profit. Okay? So it all goes back into when it comes to the love of money, people will do anything for the love of money. Verse 9, So if it please the king, let it be written that they be destroyed, and I will pay 10,000 talents of silver to the hands of those that have the charge of the business to bring it into the king's treasuries. So this man had this kind of money. He's willing to pay that kind of money to get rid of these people. And so people in power, people in money, that's what they do. When you don't go along with what they want, they will use their money and their power to try and destroy you. 13th verse, And the letters were sent by post into all the king's provinces to destroy, to kill, and to cause to perish all Jews, both young, and this is what I'm saying. Doesn't this remind you of the Holocaust? Both young and old, little children and women, in one day, even upon the 13th day at the 12th month, which is the month Adar, and to take the spoil of them for a prey. The copy of the writing for commandment to be given in every province was published unto all people, that they should be ready against that day. 4th chapter, 1st verse. When Mordecai perceived all that was done, Mordecai rent his clothes and put on sackcloth with ashes, and went out into the midst of the city and cried with a loud and bitter cry. So see, Mordecai was thinking about his people. That's another lost thing. people just only concerned about themselves and their families. But Mordecai was thinking about all of the people. When he perceived what was done, he rent his clothes, he put on sackcloth with ashes, and went out into the midst of the city and cried with a loud, bitter cry. And so it goes on to chapter 4, where Esther was, he also was in the king's, at the king's gate with the sackcloth, and Esther sent clothes for him to put on, and he refused, and she wanted to know what was going on. So Mordecai told the chamberlain who was serving Esther why. And so Mordecai told these words to Esther: "Think not with yourself that you shall escape in the king's house more than all the Jews." This is the 13th verse. So Esther was like, she's like, well, if I go into the king, if he doesn't summon you, approve, that means you can die. And that's why he responded in verse 14 for 13, "Think not with yourself that you should escape in the king's house more than all the Jews," because she was a Jew as well. He said, "For if you altogether hold your peace at this time, then shall their enlargement and deliverance arise to the Jews from another place. But you and your father's house shall be destroyed. And who knows whether you are come to the kingdom for such a time as this?" And so Esther bade them to return to Mordecai with this answer. She said, "Go gather together all the Jews that are present in Shushan, and fast for me, and neither eat nor drink 3 days, night or day. And I also and my maidens will fast likewise, and so will I go unto the king, which is not according to the law. And if I perish, I perish." So Mordecai went his way and did according to all that Esther had commanded him. I love this, that after he sent her the words, she took heed to the words, and she asked them, all of the Jews, to fast for her before she goes unto the king. And she said, "If I perish, I perish." So all of them went on a fast for 3 days and 3 nights. And this goes back to, the word in, I think it's 2 Chronicles 7:14, "If my people are called by my name, would humble themselves, seek my face," and the rest of it. And this is what I'm saying. We have to get back to that place where we're coming together on one accord and fasting for God's intervention, praying and fasting. We keep doing life without seeking instruction and guidance from God, without waiting to hear from his voice. We think we are smart and don't need his guidance. So again, it just all points back to the same thing I've been saying for the past months. So I just wanted to share these words with you. Really take time to study the book of Esther, because I am like, wow, this is what was going on. And it's just really dangerous to have people in authority who are receiving ungodly counsel, as well as if they're ungodly themselves. It's not good for anyone, especially the nation that they're ruling, whether it's a president, king, queen, dictator, whatever. It's not good when the ungodly is in authority.